Brace for landing. The captain's voice echoed through the cabin as lightning exploded outside the windows. The aircraft shook violently. A flight attendant stumbled into an armrest. Several passengers gasped. Then a nervous co-pilot's voice leaked briefly through the cockpit speaker. "Captain, we should go around." The response came instantly. "No." Seat 14A fell silent. A woman named Dr. Maya Brooks slowly looked toward the cockpit door. Something about that answer bothered her, deeply. If you enjoy emotional stories with unforgettable twists, like and subscribe to EchoStory. What happened next changed everything. Rain hammered the aircraft like thousands of tiny stones. Passengers gripped armrests. Some prayed quietly. Others stared out the windows into darkness. Maya sat perfectly still, watching the wing lights disappear behind sheets of rain. Across the aisle, a businessman whispered, "This feels wrong." The plane dipped suddenly. Several people cried out. Maya closed her eyes for a moment, listening. Not to the storm, to the rhythm of the aircraft. Something was missing. Something she had heard thousands of times before. Her attention sharpened instantly. The captain announced they were continuing the approach. Relief spread through part of the cabin. They were almost on the ground. Almost safe. But Maya's concern only grew. She studied the subtle vibrations beneath her feet. Most passengers felt fear. Maya felt inconsistency. The flight attendant nearby noticed her expression. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Maya nodded politely. "Has the captain been updated on the wind shear warning?" The attendant blinked. "I'm sure he has." Maya looked back toward the cockpit. "I'm not sure of anything right now." The attendant forced a smile and moved on. A young passenger overheard Maya's comment. "What's wind shear?" He whispered to his mother. She shrugged nervously. Maya looked away. She wasn't trying to frighten anyone. She simply couldn't ignore what she was sensing. Outside, lightning flashed again, illuminating clouds like cracked glass. The aircraft rolled slightly left, then right. Passengers exchanged worried looks. A few whispers spread. "Did she say wind shear? Is that dangerous?" Maya remained calm, but inside, a growing knot of concern tightened. In the cockpit, tension was building. The co-pilot glanced repeatedly at weather data. "Captain, conditions are deteriorating." The captain's jaw tightened. "We're committed." The younger pilot hesitated. "Sir, Tower suggested a go-around." Silence followed. Then came the response. "I know what Tower suggested." Back in the cabin, Maya noticed the aircraft descending faster than expected. She leaned forward slightly. Her eyes narrowed. Experience was speaking to her. Years of experience, but nobody around her knew that. To them, she was just another passenger staring at the storm. The plane shook harder. Oxygen masks didn't drop, but several passengers looked upward anyway. Fear spread seat by seat. The flight attendants stopped smiling. Their faces revealed what training tried to hide. Maya pressed the call button. Moments later, the same attendant arrived. "Yes, ma'am." Maya spoke softly. "I need a message delivered to the captain." The attendant looked surprised. "What message?" Maya paused. "Tell him the glide path doesn't match the storm pattern." The attendant stared, then almost laughed. "I'll let him focus on flying." The dismissal stung, but Maya remained composed. Around her, whispers continued. "What did she say? Who is she?" The attendant returned to her jump seat without delivering the message. Maya watched carefully. She had expected resistance. Authority rarely enjoys being questioned, especially during pressure. The aircraft descended through another layer of violent turbulence. Several carry-on bins rattled. A baby began crying. Then Maya noticed something that made her heart sink. A flashing pattern beyond the wing. Brief, subtle, but unmistakable. No one was ready for what came next. Maya stood briefly despite the seatbelt sign. The attendant rushed over immediately. "Ma'am, sit down!" Several passengers stared. Maya pointed toward the window. "There's microburst activity." The attendant frowned. "Please sit." Maya slowly lowered herself back into the seat. Around her, people looked confused. Some annoyed, some frightened. The attendant walked away, shaking her head. To her, Maya was becoming a problem. To Maya, every second mattered. Outside, another flash of lightning illuminated the storm. And suddenly, Maya understood exactly what was wrong. She reached into her bag and removed a small aviation notebook. Inside were calculations, diagrams, weather models. The businessman beside her glanced over. Are you a pilot? Maya hesitated. Not exactly. The aircraft jolted again. Maya opened a secure aviation weather app. Her eyes scanned rapidly. Wind vectors, storm movement, runway orientation. Her face grew serious. Very serious. The businessman swallowed nervously. Should we be worried? Maya answered honestly. I think the captain is making a dangerous choice. The words spread through the cabin like electricity. The attendant returned, now visibly irritated. Ma'am, you're upsetting passengers. Maya looked up calmly. Good. Maybe someone will finally listen. Silence fell between them. The attendant crossed her arms. And what exactly makes you qualified to question a captain? Several nearby passengers looked toward Maya. She paused. Not because she lacked an answer. Because she hated using titles. But what happened next changed everything. Maya opened her wallet and handed over a credential card. The attendant looked down, then froze. The card identified Dr. Maya Brooks as the lead architect behind the airport's advanced storm approach guidance system, the very system currently providing weather recommendations to arriving aircraft. The attendant stared, then looked again. This is real. Maya nodded. I helped design the warning algorithms your captain is ignoring. Nearby passengers gasped. The businessman's eyes widened. The attendant's confidence vanished instantly. For the first time all flight, Maya had someone's attention. But the aircraft was still descending, and time was running out. The attendant rushed toward the cockpit. Moments later, the cockpit door opened slightly. The co-pilot stepped out. His face was tense. Maya explained quickly. No ego, no accusations. Just facts. The co-pilot listened carefully. Every sentence made him more concerned. He looked toward the storm outside, then back at Maya. You're certain? Maya answered immediately. Certain enough that I'd never continue this approach. The co-pilot didn't reply. He simply turned and disappeared into the cockpit. The entire cabin waited. Inside the cockpit, the conversation became heated. The co-pilot presented Maya's analysis. The captain rejected it immediately. We're almost down. The younger pilot pushed back. Sir, she built the system. Silence. The captain looked at the weather display again, then at the runway alignment data, then back at the weather display. Doubt entered his eyes for the first time. Outside, lightning flashed across the windshield. The runway lights appeared briefly, then vanished again behind rain. Suddenly, the captain no longer felt as confident. Go around. The captain finally spoke the words. The engines roared. Passengers were pushed back into their seats as the aircraft climbed sharply. Confused gasps filled the cabin. Some people thought something had gone wrong. Others realized disaster might have been avoided. Maya closed her eyes and exhaled for the first time in 20 minutes. Outside, the storm continued raging. But now, the aircraft was moving away from danger instead of toward it. And the captain was finally listening. The aircraft leveled safely above the storm layer. Calm returned gradually. The co-pilot entered the cabin and approached Maya personally. Every passenger watched. Dr. Brooks, he said quietly, thank you. Maya shook her head. Thank the data. The co-pilot smiled weakly. Sometimes people ignore data. Around them, passengers nodded. The lesson felt bigger than aviation now. Bigger than weather. Bigger than one flight. The attendant stood nearby, embarrassed. She remembered dismissing Maya's warning only minutes earlier. The captain made an announcement. His voice sounded different now. Humble. Ladies and gentlemen, we have initiated a precautionary go-around due to changing weather conditions. He paused. I would also like to personally thank a passenger whose expertise contributed to that decision. The cabin erupted into applause. Maya immediately looked uncomfortable. She never wanted attention. She wanted safety. The applause continued anyway, because sometimes people aren't applauding power. They're applauding courage. The attendant approached Maya quietly. I owe you an apology. Maya looked up. The woman's eyes were sincere. I thought you were interfering. Maya smiled gently. Most people did. The attendant lowered her head. I should have listened. Maya nodded. Listening is easier before consequences arrive. The words weren't cruel. They were true. Around them, passengers remained unusually quiet. Everyone was reflecting on how quickly assumptions had shaped their reactions. 40 minutes later, conditions improved. The aircraft lined up for another approach. This time everything felt different. The captain followed updated guidance. The descent was stable, predictable, safe. Passengers relaxed. Some even laughed nervously. Maya looked out the window as runway lights appeared clearly through the darkness. No lightning. No violent turbulence. No uncertainty. Just clarity. Sometimes the safest decision feels like retreat. But real leadership understands the difference between retreating and reassessing. The aircraft touched down smoothly. Applause broke out immediately. Several passengers stood to thank the crew. Others turned toward Maya. The businessman beside her smiled. "You probably saved us." Maya shook her head. The crew did. Once they listened, the answer stayed with him. It stayed with everyone. Because she could have taken credit. She could have taken the spotlight. Instead, she shared responsibility. True expertise rarely needs applause to prove itself. As passengers exited, the captain stood near the cockpit door waiting. When Maya approached, he extended his hand. "Thank you for speaking up." Maya shook it. "Thank you for changing your mind." For a moment, neither person spoke. Then Maya continued toward the terminal while the storm faded behind the runway. EchoStory remembers moments like this because expertise is valuable, but humility is priceless. Respect isn't something you show when someone is powerful. It's something you show when you think they're not.